Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's review is about The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. I did say in my review of Mongrels a few weeks ago that I was going to read this book fairly fast, and I did, and to film a book review fairly fast. That I did not, because of stuff going on. However, it counts. We're here today. We're gonna just free flow in the thoughts and conversations with myself, but also with you. So hopefully we can just talk this out as a review. It's more of a discussion than a review, but I'm really excited. So I'm gonna be bouncing a lot. My ADHD is just gonna go boop, 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 and hopefully you can keep up. I'm gonna try and stay on topic, and try and end them. But if I'm not ending them very well, I do apologize in advance. Also, just getting it out of the way. It's cold here. This is my only clean long sleeve sweater, so I'm not wearing camo because the book is about hunting, so just getting that out there. I did not match, okay, and that would be a little weird. Actually, it would be very weird. Getting into it, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, and that's what I was thinking was going to happen, because when I read Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones, that was an older-ish book, and that's kind of what happens when you go back even 5 years, but especially way, way back, like 10, 15, whatever years, if that writer is still writing, that you, I guess, run the risk, for lack of a better phrase, of reading books that aren't as well planned out or well written compared to something 5-10 years in the future where the writer has fleshed out the style and, things like that. So that's really what happened with The Only Good Indians. Just going for why I dropped it 1 star down instead of 5 stars, it's 4 out of 5 stars. The switching back and forth from third person to second person was a bit weird. It really, and there was no scene breaks. There are scene breaks and chapter breaks in Mongrels. For The Only Good Indians, there's no really scene breaks. There are some parts, especially in the second half, where it's third person, and then the second person, which is Elkhead Woman, just kind of blend together, and so I had to reread a few things. I'm like, what is this? I don't know, maybe first person might have been a bit better, I would say, instead of second person. I can definitely get more connected if it's third person or with first person, but I've rarely seen third person and second person. I've rarely seen second person in the first place, right? I don't really see a lot of use of second person, and I can't recall the last time I read second person narrative. I don't remember. I'm not even gonna think about it. I don't remember. And then the use of is a lot, and that was I've read that was a stylistic choice, exploring the flow of thoughts in third person. It's interesting. Definitely, explore in different books, but it didn't work for me because I used to say every single sentence and many times in a sentence, and then I realized what I was doing, and yeah, I stopped, because it does grate on the person's listening to you after a certain point. Also the fact that I worked with a Valley girl that said all the time, and she would input when she was insulting you, so it wouldn't be as hurtful as she said. I'm like, you're still insulting someone. So I don't know. I don't know how Stephen Graham Jones, you would use it it so much, and I'm trying to find a pattern, but I can't really find a pattern, like if like was used for like specific scenes or specific characters, then that would make more sense, but it's just throughout the whole book. There was a sentence where there's 2 or 3 likes. Well, that's a lot. Then at the end, which is this is going to be going into a discussion at the end with Denora, who is the daughter of one of the 4 men that went hunting on elder land during a time where they were not supposed to, plus they can't hunt on elder land as far as I realize, like, at all. So they have game warden watching the elder land, but they're young. I think they're like supposed to be 18 or 17, 18, 19, you know, they're teenagers, not really thinking things through. So the 4 of them, Ricky, Lewis, Cass, and Gabe, go to hunt elk, and they shoot and kill elk, and then Lewis does something even worse, and he kills a mother elk, and he takes out the calf of the mother and then buries it, but then he also takes the mother calf home, and there's one point where he's giving it out to people because he's running away, he's going to leave, but he keeps I don't know if it's significant, I can't recall, just like a hunk of the mother elk meat, and he just sticks it in his freezer for 10 years. So it's always there. And yes, so I mentioned Elkhead Woman is in second person usually. Elkhead Woman is the dead mother bent on revenge after 10 years, killing the herd and for what Lewis did to the baby calf and to her. So Denora is a child of one of the 4 men that went hunting that day, a few days before Thanksgiving. Ricky dies in the first chapter, so it's down to Lewis, Cass, and Gabe. I'm saying Cass, it's Cassidy, maybe, no, Cassidy is Cass. I'm gonna say Cass, because Case sounds dumb. Cassidy, I'm gonna go with Cass. Okay, so there's 3 left, but technically what happens is well, it's for all horror or psychological thrillers anyway, there is a sequence of deaths. I would think that maybe Lewis would go first, but no, he does not go first. It's Ricky. And it's not, Ricky isn't killed by Elkhead Woman. He's beaten to death outside a bar as he is running away. Does he go to North Dakota, South Dakota? Right after it happens, he runs because he knows he did wrong. They all know. They all understand that they did something wrong. The 2 that stay on the Blackfeet Reservation is Gabe and Cass. And they have had problems, and pretty much, I would say, outcast. Everyone, or almost everyone, knows what they did. Lewis leaves, and Ricky was leaving before he was beaten outside a bar. But Ricky kind of sees a premonition, not really premonition, but he sees like kind of the embodiment, kind of, you know, before he dies, of Elkhead Woman. So that's the glimpse. I watched a interview with Stephen Graham Jones about The Only Good Indians with a YouTuber before I read the book. I think it was like a month ago or 2 months. I'm trying to remember all the details that he said, but it was a long time ago and it was a really long interview. So hopefully I get it all correct. But finals girl, which is in horror, it's the final girl that survives. It's like a huge trope, and oftentimes it becomes a cliche. He said he did not want it to become a cliche, and he's trying to flip the trope of the finals girl with Denora, who is Blackfeet, and she's relatively young. I think she is in high school, but like she's not a 21-year-old, you know, like those horror movies where good girl in a group, and that's the finals girl that survives, and like the only one or like one of two that survives in the whole group. So instead of like a group of teenagers or young adults, it's actually her that survives in a group of, well, actually in a group of the men the night before, Cass, Gabe, and then Nathan, and then his father. I don't know if he's a game warden or he's a policeman, but he's in Nathan's father's in the force on the reservation. Nathan is joining a sweat lodge because he's acting out because he lost a friend. What? Okay, sorry. he lost a friend, and he's going through some trouble. So going to do a sweat lodge and kind of work it out with men in the backyard of Gabe. This was another, okay, I'm seeing now, topic. I'm not great at switching today with the topics, but the issue was Gabe and Cass. They were the two great best friends. They're the ones that stayed on the reservation. They're the outcasts. So they really, I don't know if it's purposeful or not, but they are, whenever their chapters come up, it switches back and forth between them, and you have to really pay attention, sometimes reread to see if it's Gabe or Cass. I'm not sure if that was also a stylistic thing. I would be interested to see if, because they're both outcasts because of what they did 10 years ago and they're best friends, and they're the ones that stayed, if there was a point to be made that they're they like are almost always together, but they also act in a very similar way. I don't know if, you know, that was conscious or unconscious or not at all. It was a little confusing. So sometimes you're reading and you're like, okay, I have to reread and see if it's Gabe or Cass talking. But anyway, so Denora is the finals girl. She goes head to head with Elkhead Woman after Elkhead Woman, spoiler alert, kills all of the four men. Well, not Ricky. She first kills Lewis, and then in the same scene, in the same chapter, because Gabe and Cass are, you know, two peas in a pod, she kills them indirectly. Well, so she's not the one holding the gun type of thing, but she gives one of them, I'm not gonna say who, she gives one of them really no choice, so he kills himself. At this point, you think all four men that were, you know, part of the sweat lodge have died. At the end, like the last 25, maybe 30 pages, it's Denora versus Elkhead Woman, and she's running, and then you come upon Nathan, who survived the, you know, gunshot, which, good for Nathan. Okay, but he's on a horse. He's on one of the horses owned by Gabe, I believe, and there's a choice there that I'm like, interesting. I mean, this is why we're gonna talk it out, where Denora has a choice of keep on running or goes on the horse with Nathan and runs to her stepfather, which was the game warden that found the group of four in the beginning, and now Denora, that's her stepfather. You see the connection there, right? She decides to keep running, which this was an interesting story or plot point choice, because you could definitely ruin the cliche and even the trope of the finals girl by having her jump on the horse with Nathan and running away and leaving Elkhead Woman behind, and then like dealing with it later. And this is where, you know, you turn the cliche into a trope, and you change the trope even. She says, no, Nathan, go get my stepfather. He'll know what to do, because she knows what her father and his friends did those 10 years ago. So she's running. Elkhead Woman just is following her, but she's fast because she's an elk. she's not, you know, running or even sprinting. She's a basketball player, so she has, you know, at least she has the endurance to just run, and she's running for a very long time until she goes to the clearing in the elder hunting land, and there's just elk bones everywhere, and she stumbles upon it, and then Elkhead Woman is right behind her, but she pauses, and then Denora's like, okay, I understand what needs to be done, and she doesn't fight the Elkhead Woman, she doesn't kill her, she doesn't harm her in any way. She actually protects her when her stepfather comes in and he wants to shoot this supernatural being. But I think he also at a certain point understands what's going on, even though he didn't know what Lewis did, the mother and the calf. So then when Denora puts herself in front of Elkhead Woman for Elkhead Woman to dig up the calf and to the baby to her, Denora says, don't shoot. Let Elkhead Woman grieve for the baby that was taken from her very violently. And then that's how it ends, that Elkhead Woman and the calf move on, and Denora lets them go, and the clearing that has been disturbed because of what happened, it can heal. I think that was really, really fascinating. There are a lot of scenes of gore and also really difficult topics like sexism, racism. A lot of dogs are killed in this one, and some of them are killed by Elkhead Woman. There was one friend, it's a real life friend, she was like, I cried because it was so scary, I couldn't read it at night. You're gonna have to do a lot for me to cry and put down a book at night. So definitely is a horror / psychological thriller. I know in the beginning a lot of people said, okay, I don't understand why this is a horror book. For them to understand that this is a huge issue and it's a serious topic. This was not new to me. I fully understood what was going on and why it was so serious and why it was a huge concern that the three of them, excluding Ricky because he was killed first many years ago, like right after it happened, for the three of them to take this so seriously and for Lewis to be obsessed with it and his demise because of that obsession, and then why Cass and Gabe were considered outcasts. So I would watch interviews with Stephen Graham Jones. If you're not understanding why it's a horror book, and what you come up with is really fascinating. I really enjoyed Stephen Graham Jones's interview. I'm going to find it. I'm going to link it in the description box below. I thought it was really interesting. I think it would be extremely important and smart of you to at least watch that particular interview with Stephen from his own thoughts and his own words to understand more about the book. I always do that with any writer that is open to interviews, and he seems to be very open to interviews, even if the interviewer doesn't have a lot of followers, you know, or subscribers on YouTube. Love that. I love seeing that, and there are quite a few reviews with Stephen Graham Jones about The Only Good Indians and the meaning and the backstory and just more in-depth conversation, and I really suggest you look into it. Not just because if you don't understand why this is a horror / psychological thriller, but also I just like hearing from the writer about their thoughts, like they created or where the story came from, how they created the characters, the writing style, if they talk about that. You know, as a writer, I like knowing about other writers. That sounded creepy. I did not mean that to sound creepy. But you know what I mean. Okay, yes. I am excited to read the other books that I have with Stephen Graham Jones. Thank you so much for watching my review, more so of a discussion of The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. Thank you and have a great reading day. Bye.